Low-income Americans are struggling financially, and car dependency leads to lower life satisfaction. Today, I read an interesting article on CNN Business written by Brian Mina titled, "Low-Income Americans Are Struggling. It Could Get Worse." The author of this article referenced a Houston person who graduated with a bachelor's degree in 2021 who has struggled to find a full-time job. This person is doing some contract work but has made less than $10,000 during the calendar year, which is below the 2023 poverty line of $15,480 for a single person. This individual is sleeping on a friend's couch in North Texas. Here are my thoughts. I'm sorry to hear about this person's struggle to find good employment. I'm glad this individual has been able to secure some contract work in the interim. Perhaps this experience will eventually lead to full-time employment. The struggle described here is pretty common in America. I have some friends who have adult children with college degrees still living at home. They haven't been able to find employment in their occupational areas yet. It is not an ideal situation to be in. If I didn't have a job lined up prior to graduation, I would look for a graduate assistantship at a university because these often cover the cost of tuition and provide enough money each month to survive on. There's something I worry about. If our economy slows further in 2025, it could become even more difficult to secure good employment. Key word, good. Getting back to the article, the author went on to talk about why low-income Americans are struggling and referenced Bank of America Institute data, which revealed that nearly 30% of U.S. households this year spent more than 95% of their disposable income on necessities such as housing costs, groceries, and utility bills. My friends, I think this is going to continue to get worse. Necessities in life aren't going to get any cheaper moving forward. I believe wage increases are not going to keep pace with the higher cost of living here in America. Fortunately, many people still have access to credit to bridge the gap. That's only a short-term fix, though. This will end badly for many individuals. For some, it may even mean bankruptcy. Now, here is the scariest part of this article if it actually happens. The author wonders if there is more pain ahead for Americans. If Trump proceeds with imposing 25% tariffs on imported goods from Canada and Mexico and an additional 10% duty on Chinese goods, prices could increase next year by 0.75%, which would equal a loss of about $1,200 in annual purchasing power per household. Here are my thoughts. If this projection is even close to being accurate, this could be very problematic. Many Americans right now are barely hanging on. Some can't handle a loss of about $1,200 in annual purchasing power, especially those on a fixed income. Social Security cost of living adjustments are not keeping pace with the true cost of living in America. Ask any retired people who survive just on Social Security, and they will likely tell you the struggle is real. Some are left with few options. Now, I read some of the comments beneath this article. I'll share some of them with you. The first commenter said, "Manufacturing jobs that pay a living wage is what we should be investing in." Another commenter said, "Prices of goods have gone up because of inflation, thanks to corporate greed. Wages, while higher, are being outpaced by artificial inflation. Job insecurity has risen. The number of lower wage jobs has grown much faster than higher wage jobs. Housing market is overly inflated, waiting to burst. Rental prices are through the rough because of price fixing created by large companies like Blackstone, Zillow, American Homes for Rent, Greystar, etc. that buy out the houses in many regions. Property insurance and health insurance costs have skyrocketed, as has the cost of drugs. These are some of the consequences of capitalism when company profits and shareholders are the only ones that matter. Couple that with the possibility of blanket tariffs, trade wars, market deregulation, etc., and you have a perfect storm. The last comment that I'll share with you came from someone who said, the impact will not be less if consumers buy domestically produced goods. Retailers will increase prices across the board. Shareholders will require that. Well, my friends, the commenters always have interesting things to say. As we enter the new year, it will be fascinating to see how this all plays out. Now, this next article was interesting. I read this on yahoo.com, put out by The Guardian, and written by Oliver Millman, titled, How Extreme Car Dependency is Driving Americans to Unhappiness. According to the author, the United States, with its enormous highways, sprawling suburbs, and neglected public transportation systems, is one of the most car-dependent countries in the world. Here are my initial thoughts. I've always felt like this was by design. At one time, we were a manufacturing powerhouse in the world. Once highways started to be built nationwide, this provided a demand for more and more vehicles to be manufactured. All could have been great here in America if auto companies weren't so greedy and sloppy and focused more on quality and affordability. Import brands gained a foothold in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, and the glory days of the American automotive industry is nothing but a memory. Cities and towns around the country were decimated as more people purchased import brands and as American companies offshored manufacturing to other countries for cheap labor. Getting back to the article, the author said 9 in 10 households have at least one vehicle, and 87% of people use their cars daily. The author went on to reference a study titled, Extreme Car Dependence Comes at a Cost, to the point that the downsides outweigh the benefits. This study revealed that having to drive more than 50% of the time for out-of-home activities is linked to a decrease in life satisfaction. Here are my thoughts. When I read this, I reflected on the old movie Office Space. At the beginning of that movie, 3 of the main characters were shown driving into work on the freeway. They were all dealing with bumper-to-bumper traffic. One of the characters, named Samir Naga, not gonna work here anymore, was driving an old Firebird in traffic. He got so frustrated that he started yelling and beating the steering wheel with both hands. When you have that kind of commute, I'm sure that impacts life satisfaction in a negative way. Now, the author didn't mention this, but there are some other things about cars that likely impact life satisfaction in a negative way. These include large car payments, expensive car insurance, and very expensive car maintenance. These modern high-tech vehicles continue to get more expensive to maintain. I was watching a video that the car care nut posted recently. He had to replace an air conditioning condenser in a newer Toyota Highlander. He had to remove most of the front end of that vehicle just to get it out. I watched how long it took for him to disassemble the front of that modern vehicle, and I said, no thanks. I'll stick with my mid-2000s era vehicle for now. I can fix just about anything on it myself, and the cost is minimal. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.